So today I have a gentleman that wants to get a starter flock of sheep. And a question that's pretty common is, what is a good ratio of males to females? In other words, how many females can one male service? So while we get these sheep up and sort out a few for him to look at, let's discuss that. Come along. So the ideal ratio between males and females probably depends a lot on whether you're talking about a herd of goats or a flock of sheep. In my experience, goats are much more aggressive breeders. So one male, one buck or billy, can usually cover about 30 females, nannies or does, and not miss any. It may be spread out over a couple of months, but he'll usually get the job done. However, with sheep, they're not quite as aggressive when it comes to breeding, and in my experience I found that you really shouldn't have a ratio any greater than 1 male to 20 females. So one ram can usually cover 20 ewes without much problem. But if you get more than 20 ewes, he starts to get lazy and doesn't always cover them all, at least not in a real quick period of time, so your lambing may be spaced out a little bit more. So one of the problems that you have if you run more than one male in with a herd of goats or a flock of sheep is that there's fighting that takes place for dominance rights and breeding rights. And with goats, this is not always too bad of a problem. Usually bucks will work things out in a course of a few days. I have had some break one another's legs or break a horn or bloody each other up, but they usually survive. That's not always the case with sheep. Many times the impact that are created when rams are fighting breaks one of their necks. And so about 20% of the time you put two adult males together that have not been together, not been running together, not grown up together, and they fight, about 20% of the time one of them will end up dead. So for that reason, when it comes to sheep, if I have, even though the ideal ratio may be 1 to 20, if I have 20 ewes and I need to add a few more ewes, I'll get up to 30 ewes before I'll put in a second ram, simply because I know I'm running the risk when I put in that second ram that they're going to fight, and there's a 20% chance that one of them may get killed in that. So I would rather run 30 ewes to one ram, and he may miss some the first month or so, but he'll probably get the job done. If I have more than 30 ewes, I know I've got to get a second ram in there or he just won't cover them. If you do have to add a second ram to your flock, one thing that I've learned that sometimes works is to add a younger one. So you have an adult male that's dominant, bring in a juvenile male, and he'll be a little bit intimidated. He won't know exactly what he's doing. Usually the fighting is not quite as severe. And what will happen is anything that the older ram misses, the younger ram will clean up. They learn to run together, and then for the next year or whatever, they usually get along pretty good. So that's one trick that I've learned. If I have to add a second ram to a flock, that works pretty well. So one last point to consider is that since you only need 1 ram to 20 ewes or 1 buck to 30 does, it pays to get the best that you can afford with that. It doesn't have to be registered. As a matter of fact, I find that I don't do well with registered stock simply because you're paying a lot for the registration process and the papers, and sometimes they're better quality, sometimes they're not. But you do want one that is a good, sound quality breeding ram or sire, because he's going to be 50% of your future herd or flock. His genetics are contributing to 50% of what your lamb or kid crop is going to be. So it's worth it to pick a good billy or a good ram to service your flock. If you found this video to be helpful, you may want to check out some of the other videos that I have on this channel, and also subscribe to the channel for more content like this. If you're within driving distance of Northwest Alabama and you're looking for some additional breeding stock or maybe a starter herd or flock, give me a call, see what I have available. Appreciate you watching. Happy farming.